everyone, Kerrie here at Conversations at Kerrie's Korner. How are you today on this Friday? It is the weekend, thank goodness. A lot of people don't have the weekend though, so whenever your weekend is, I hope it is a good one for you. Today we're talking about entrepreneurship here at Conversations at Kerrie's Korner. And what is that, by the way? What is this podcast all about? Well, it's about talking, having conversations with each other, coming back to a point where we can talk and listen and respect each other and figure out how we got here with this terrible divide and how to fix it. Because you see, I'm not going to agree with you and you're not going to agree with me all the time. And that's okay, we shouldn't. Think how boring life would be if we were all the same and we all thought the same way. But we have this massive divide in our communities, our cities, our states, our nations, and even across the world. We just don't talk to each other anymore. We don't figure out how to fix our problems by listening to each other and talking it through. We argue, we fight. We're divided. And this podcast, I hope, will start a conversation. We'll have a conversation about entrepreneurship, and I hope you can share it with somebody, and then they can share it with somebody. And hopefully this will inspire us to come back to the middle and talk about our issues, fix our issues, have a conversation, and listen. So I'm asked all the time. I am asked all the time, why did I become an entrepreneur? It's a really good question. I was inspired by my parents, for sure. Both of my parents owned their own business. My dad is a retired professional golfer. He started in the United States in the 60s. First came in the 50s, but really began his career here in the 60s. And he's still successful. He's still working. He still has a podcast today, and he's almost 88. My mom, God rest her soul, opened an extremely successful hair salon. So much so that my dad just finally said to her, Gloria, okay, you got to slow down. You're making way too much money because of the tax implications. So I've been around people who've worked hard their whole life, who demonstrated what it is like to be an entrepreneur, and the good, the bad, the stress, the great times, the flexibility, the worry. They were both extremely successful. So I knew eventually that I wanted to own my own business. In college, I started in the insurance business, and I've been in that industry for 43 years. In 2011, after my youngest child was off to college, I made the decision to open my own agency. I waited that long because I did not want to compromise time away from him and my family, because I knew that it was going to take a lot of hours, a long days, and I just was not willing up until that point to make that commitment. So I opened my Allstate agency, and 2 years into it, I sold it back to Allstate because they could not give me what I really, really wanted for my clients, which was options at renewal and at new business. I just didn't want to settle. I didn't want my clients to settle. And in 2013, I opened an independent agency, and I've been doing that ever since. I know the industry. I knew that I could run my own agency because basically I have done everything within an agency. So I knew all of the inner workings of how to run a successful agency, and I have a very successful agency. Entrepreneurship is not for everyone. Okay, it's just not. There's a very specific personality. You have to be well organized, extremely driven, extremely confident, a dreamer. But you also have to be very organized, very determined, and you have to know how to talk and communicate. You also have to be willing to step into a pressure cooker and take the pressure along with all the good, because there will be plenty of that as an entrepreneur. Think back for a second to when this amazing country started. You'd go down to the main street when we first started, and there'd be a butcher, a baker, a newspaper person probably. There might be a seamstress, probably a farmer, a farmer's market, somebody for dairy. We had all these small businesses that started this great nation. And today, the small business community employs more than any other segment of our community. So we need small business owners. We need driven people that are talented, that have a dream, and they are dedicated to seeing that dream come to fruition. There's a lot of great positives, but there's also a lot of great negatives in being an entrepreneur. It all rests right here. The business, you are responsible for the business, the employees, your future, your income, the day-to-day operations, the legal part of it, the human resources part of it. I mean, you name it, and it's your responsibility. This is where the pressure cooker comes in. But if you have confidence in your skill set, you can do anything you want. And I believe that. If you are confident in your skills, you can be and do anything you want to be. You just have to make the decision, be dedicated, do your research, be informed. Don't go into it just blindly. Be prepared, and you'll be wildly successful. I can remember when I decided to do this, my dad said to me, Kerrie, the one thing that is the hardest part about being a business owner, that will be the same that the day you open to the day you close, it'll be the same thing that causes you the most heartache, the most grief, and it is the most difficult part of being a business owner. That's employees. Because it's a human being. And you know what? He's so right. It is. But your employees are your most valuable asset, because they represent you. They represent you as a brand, right? They're the first line of defense. They're who your customers generally meet first in the normal day-to-day operations. So you got to treat your employees well. You got to give them as many benefits as you can. You got to train them. You got to communicate with them. You got to be their best friend, but you've also got to be their boss, and you got to be willing to let the hammer fall when it needs to, because it is your baby, and you can't allow anything to get in its way of growing into an adult, your business. Employees are the hardest part of being an entrepreneur, because someone else brings to the table their personality, their issues, their quirks, and you as the business owner have to be willing to say, okay, no, this is not going to work. And you have to do that. You have to be able to do that. I love being an entrepreneur, but there's a lot of times that I would have thought about jumping ship. But it ultimately comes back to, I want my time. I want to be in charge. I want to be in control. I don't want to answer to anybody. If I decide at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday that I want to go have dinner with my grandkids, I get up and I get in the car and I go have dinner. If my husband and I decide we want to fly to Mexico Thursday night, we fly to Mexico. The flexibility of owning your own business is one of the greatest benefits of being an entrepreneur. But you've got to weigh all of that great with all of the stuff that comes on the other side of it. And it is a constant balancing act. But we need more entrepreneurs. We do. We need young entrepreneurs that can get their feet wet and get their businesses started. And some of the most famous people in the world with the most money are really young people. There's brilliant young people that are starting amazing companies. I mean, just look at Facebook. Look at the amount of money that young man, because he had a dream and because he followed his dream. Look at where he is today. I mean, that's an astounding story. Entrepreneurship has so many wonderful blessings. But one of the biggest issues for an entrepreneur is the uncertainty of financial future, right? Because so many things can affect a small business. Just look at what happened during the Biden years. A staggering 37% of all business owners lost their businesses due to the horrible economy. Can you imagine the heartbreak that those people felt because they could not get through that? That's always a possibility. But as long as you stay driven, focused, determined, energized, and you're doing something that you love to do, entrepreneurship is an amazing, rewarding career choice. I actually have many things that I do because as my generation has gotten older, and I'm 63, I'm not afraid to say that I'm 63. As my generation has gotten older, we've realized that we can't depend upon Social Security like the previous generations have. We've got to have additional sources of income now. We've got to work on them now. So when we do finally leave that corporate position, we have additional revenue streams coming in. So we don't have to worry that we're going to run out of money, because it is a distinct possibility if Social Security goes away. So many people that are retired now are worried because they're concerned that Social Security is going to go away, and then what? Have to go back to work? I can't think of anything worse than that. So I have multiple things that I'm working on that generate income for us. I obviously have my insurance agency. I started this podcast last fall. It's starting to finally grab some traction. I'm doing a lot of social media, which is finally starting to grow some traction. And that's another thing about being an entrepreneur. The media, the marketing media now is all social media. So you got to learn how to get in front of this camera and be comfortable and talk and promote your businesses, because you're the face of your brand, and that's what's going to make you successful. You can't abdicate it to somebody else. You've got to do it. Social media is the new superhighway of commerce, and you've got to learn how to use it, manipulate it to grow your businesses. So I have my insurance agency. Then I have Kerrie's Korner, which is a DIY company which helps people do things on a DIY basis. We can send a video to you if you don't understand how to do a project. We have interior design services that are discounted, and we have a small amount of inventory that is also discounted. For you, for business owners, for people who want to do it themselves but they don't want to spend a fortune paying a high-priced contractor when they think they can do it, they just need a little bit of help. And that's what Kerrie's Korner is all about. Kerrie's Korner is actually the name of the salon that my mother had when I was growing up. And I wanted to honor her amazing career by using that name a second time. Obviously, it was named after me, and Kerrie's Korner has a very, very special place in my growing up years, and because it is the representation of my mom's lifelong hard work. So that's what Kerrie's Korner, where that name comes from. Then within Kerrie's Korner, or as a part of Kerrie's Korner, we have Conversations of Kerrie's Korner, which is obviously this podcast. My insurance agency is called KDS Insurance Services, and yeah, you guessed it, KDS is my initials. So you can see the theme here, right? A lot of K's. And then we are just about to go live with coffee at Conversations at Kerrie's Korner. It is a storefront for coffee, tea, and accessories. And then in the fall, we'll be launching our mobile coffee service, which is a service to go to you and have great gourmet coffee or just a cup of joe. Now, if you think about Kerrie's Korner and Conversations at Kerrie's Korner and coffee at Kerrie's Korner, we're just going to pull up to the table and have a cup of coffee with each other and talk about these things. Talk about the house that you want to remodel, or talk about a party that you need coffee services at, or you need you need a video on how to put plumbing in. So it's all intertwined with each other, and I can insure the house too because I own an independent insurance agency. And then the last thing that I'm just now starting to introduce, and this is a very heartfelt new part of my businesses. It's a company called Duke's Way, Living with Grief. Just almost a year ago, I lost my beautiful service dog, Duke, and I had him for 12 years. And his passing has been so incredibly difficult. I think the reason it has been so difficult is I lost my mom about a year before I lost him. So I've lost two of the most important people, because I do think of Duke as a family member. He's not just an animal. Two of the most important mechanisms of support in my life I lost back to back. And Duke's passing was extremely traumatic. And I couldn't deal with it on my own. It absolutely crushed my husband and I. I had to get help because he was such a huge part of our lives. He saved my life twice. He wasn't a service dog when I got him, but then he alerted twice to a malfunction of an implant that I have, and he saved my life twice. So in my recent shoulder surgery recovery, I started to do a lot of research into grief counseling, how to cope and live with grief, the different stages of grief, how people react to grief differently, services and resources that are available. And I took part in a grief recovery workshop. And I learned so much about living with grief. You're never going to get over grief. It's always going to be a part of your life. It's going to have its own timeline. It's going to show up when it wants. But you can learn to live with the grief. And my personality, I have to take this crushing sadness, and turn it into something positive. The way that I'm doing that is through counseling other people who have lost their pets. I have a 5-hour, 5-session workshop to help you get yourself to a point where you can live with this grief, because you're never going to get over it. And hopefully at the end of the 5 sessions, you'll be at a place where you could potentially open your heart up to another dog. or another animal, whatever it is, because there's many, many animals that connect with human beings on a soul level. Dogs, cats, horses, birds, even lizards and tiny little gerbils can develop this unbelievable bond that humans and animals have. There's nothing like it in anywhere else. And if I can encourage and help other people who are experiencing what I've experienced learn to live with their grief and open their hearts back up to another animal, then I'm honoring the 12 unbelievable years of unconditional love that I got from my beloved Duke. And I'm ensuring his legacy forever by helping other people through this very, very traumatic, deeply personal, and very sad time. The name of it is Duke's Way, and it's Living with Grief. It'll be available on September 4th. That's the one year anniversary of his passing. And I'm so excited for this. I'm so looking forward to helping whoever really needs this kind of help. I see this every day. I read story after story after story every day of people who are crushed by losing this family member. And I want to help them. And I'm passionate about it. And that is the essence of entrepreneurship. Have a dream, be passionate about it, put the work in, do the research, and then believe enough in yourself with your skill set that you can do it and be successful and control your destiny and not depend on someone else. That's entrepreneurship, and that's why I am an entrepreneur. I hope this helps. I really do. I hope, because I'm asked so many times a week, if you know somebody that's considering being their own boss, please share this with them. I'd love the opportunity to meet with them and talk to them, give them some more insights. That's what this is all about, is sharing ideas, sharing inspiration, and figuring out a way that we can come back together and talk about these things so we can work together to bridge this divide. We got to start talking to each other. We've got to start listening and respecting each other's opinions. It's the only way we're going to get back to really talking and solving our problems, really everywhere. Verbal communication. It's one of the most important things humans do, and we're not doing a really good job of it. So I hope these podcasts inspire you to inspire others to do it better, so we can bridge this terrible gap that we have. Many blessings to you. Conversations at Kerrie's Korner. I try to do 2 a week, and I would love to hear from you. I would love to know what things in your life are a challenge, so we can talk about them, get a podcast out there, and get the conversation started, get change started. I would love to hear from you, so please give me some feedback. And any questions, I would love to hear from you too on any of these subjects. And we will see you the next time. God bless you wherever you are. Have a safe, wonderful, wonderful weekend. God bless.